Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving deep into a period that fundamentally reshaped human existence. A time so pivotal it truly deserves to be called a revolution. I'm talking about the Neolithic agricultural revolution. Ever wondered how we went from small bands of hunter-gatherers to building massive cities and complex societies? Well, it all starts here. Get ready, because we're about to uncover the monumental shifts that laid the groundwork for everything we know today. So, let's set the scene. Imagine the world around 10,000 to 6,000 BCE. For hundreds of thousands of years before this, humans lived as nomads, constantly moving, following animal herds, and foraging for wild plants. Life was a daily quest for survival, relying entirely on what nature provided directly. They were incredibly resourceful, intelligent, and adapted to diverse environments. But their lifestyle had inherent limitations. Population density was low and larger. Permanent settlements were simply not practical. This was the status quo for almost the entire span of human history. But then, something extraordinary began to happen. In a region often called the Fertile Crescent, a boomerang-shaped area stretching from modern-day Iraq to Syria, Lebanon, Jordan, Israel, and Egypt, a revolutionary shift took root. And interestingly, this transformation wasn't confined to just one place. It also emerged independently in other parts of the world, like China with rice cultivation and the Americas with corn. This suggests that humans in various corners of the globe were all moving towards a similar breakthrough. So, what exactly was this Neolithic agricultural revolution? In its simplest terms, it was the transition from a nomadic hunting and gathering lifestyle to one based on settled farming and raising livestock. Instead of just taking what nature offered, humans started actively cultivating specific plants and domesticating animals. Think about that for a second. This wasn't just finding food, it was about producing food. It sounds simple, but the implications were absolutely mind-blowing. Let's break down the what a little further. Early farmers began by observing wild grains, like wheat and barley. They noticed which plants produced the most edible seeds, and over time they learned to select these seeds, plant them, and care for them. This wasn't an overnight discovery. It was a gradual process of trial, error, and meticulous observation spanning generations. Simultaneously, they started domesticating animals like goats, sheep, cattle, and pigs. Instead of hunting wild animals, they began to control their breeding and movements, ensuring a more predictable supply of meat, milk, wool, and even labor. This shift from hunter-gatherer to farmer wasn't merely a change in diet. It was a complete overhaul of how humans interacted with their environment and with each other. It marked the moment we stopped being purely consumers of nature and started becoming its managers. This new way of life meant people no longer had to constantly move. They could stay in one place, tending their fields and livestock. And that, my friends, led directly to the formation of permanent settlements. The very first villages. Now, for the why important part. The impact of this revolution is almost impossible to overstate. First and foremost, farming provided a more reliable and abundant food supply. While hunting and gathering could be feast or famine, successful agriculture offered a surplus. What does a surplus mean? It means more food to go around. And crucially, it meant people could feed more children. This led to a dramatic increase in human population. Imagine the difference. A hunter-gatherer band might sustain a few dozen people, but a fertile farming village could support hundreds, then thousands. With a stable food supply and growing populations came new social structures. No longer did everyone have to spend their entire day searching for food. Some people could specialize in other tasks. We start to see the emergence of specialized labor. Some became farmers. Others became toolmakers, potters, builders, or even religious leaders. This division of labor led to greater efficiency and innovation. People could hone specific skills, leading to better tools, more effective farming techniques, and ultimately, a more complex society. And with specialized labor came social stratification. Not everyone was equal. Some individuals or families might accumulate more wealth, more land, more livestock, more stored grain, leading to differences in status and power. This laid the foundation for hierarchical societies, with chiefs, priests, and later, kings, emerging to manage these increasingly complex communities. The ability to settle down also fostered an entirely new relationship with the land. When you're constantly moving, you don't own land in the same way. But when you invest months of labor into a field, planting and nurturing crops, that land becomes intrinsically yours. This gave rise to the concept of private property, a cornerstone of virtually every civilization that followed. This concept, initially about farmland, eventually extended to possessions, dwellings, and even livestock. The surplus of food and the ability to stay in one place created the conditions for the development of monumental architecture. People could now dedicate time and collective effort to building permanent structures, houses, granaries, and eventually, temples and defensive walls. These early villages grew into towns, and eventually, some of these towns became the very first cities. These cities weren't just bigger villages. They were hubs of trade, innovation, and cultural exchange, bustling with people engaged in diverse activities. Think about it. Without the agricultural revolution, there would be no cities, no writing, no complex governments, no advanced technologies, no art as we know it, because everyone would still be busy trying to find their next meal. This revolution didn't just change what people ate. It changed how they lived, how they thought, and what they could achieve. It set humanity on an irreversible path towards civilization as we understand it. Of course, it wasn't all sunshine and roses. The agricultural revolution also brought challenges. Dependence on a few staple crops meant vulnerability to crop failure due to disease or bad weather. Living in close proximity to domesticated animals led to new diseases jumping from animals to humans. The sedentary lifestyle sometimes meant a less varied diet and, for some, harder physical labor than their hunter-gatherer ancestors. And the rise of property and social hierarchies also sowed the seeds of conflict and inequality. But despite these challenges, the trajectory was set. The Neolithic agricultural revolution was a profound turning point, a pivotal moment where human ingenuity transformed our destiny. It truly enabled population growth, fostered social complexity, and birthed the very first cities. It gave us the foundations for civilization, the concept of property, and the framework for organized labor. Every time you eat a meal, live in a house, or participate in a complex society, you are in a very real sense benefiting from the ripple effects of those early farmers who thousands of years ago decided to plant a seed. It's an incredible testament to human adaptability and innovation, a reminder that monumental changes often start with simple, yet revolutionary, ideas. This era shows us how foundational changes in how we produce and organize our basic needs can completely reshape our world. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey through one of the most transformative periods in human history. If you found this dive into the Neolithic agricultural revolution as fascinating as I did, please give this video a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you don't miss our next exploration into the past. We've got so many more incredible stories to uncover together. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and stay curious.